So I have been sick. I shared that in a previous video. You could probably hear it in my voice. um, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 8 weeks. I don't know. It comes and goes, and this past week was brutal. Uh, I finally made a doctor's appointment. I'll be going next week. I don't know what it is. Head, major fatigue. Um, and it just won't go away. That's why I haven't been on here. Or that's one of my many excuses why I haven't been on here. But uh, I just completed this book, or this memoir, the Neko Case memoir, The Harder I Fight, the More I Love You. I loved it. Big fan of Neko Case. I've always been interested in her story. I love memoirs. It's probably my favorite style of book. I read them all the time. No, I don't read them all the time. I read probably 5 or 6 a year. That's not that much. But I am trying to read more. Don't we always say that? And I'm glad that I finally finished this book. But it really got me thinking about growing up. Sort of my own story, how I discovered music. And it just made me think of the first 10. And, these are just 10 records that I remember very early, or most of them are records. Some are just an artist because I couldn't find a specific record. But I think these sort of set the stage for me falling in love with music, which I always cite. It was really the mid-90s, sort of 93 to 96 maybe, when I discovered, Wilco and Son Volt and Graham Parsons and the Minutemen and the Replacement, all that stuff. And it's just been the crux, the largest part of my life ever since. But these were sort of the foundational records. And I know when I first started this channel, I looked this morning and I have 2,499 subscribers. One shy of the big 2,500 number. And I have made promises that I'm going to start doing giveaways, which I am. I am going through sort of a move sort of thing that I'm starting to throw stuff away. I've spent a good portion when I haven't been in bed trying to throw stuff out over the past few days, and also going through a lot of stuff to try and better organize as I make some life moves in the near future. But these are the 10 that first came to mind when I sort of poked around. And, when I talk about the stuff, Neko Case was talking about her early influences. And then she talked about the bands that she fell in love with, the Flat Duo Jets. She talked about the Sadies. And I know, it's not, I would love to say when I was in high school, I was listening to, I wouldn't love to say it, but it would be cooler to say that I was listening to the Smiths and, I don't even know, I was listening to the Ramones, and that's just not true. Or the Modern Lovers, or I was raised mostly on, classic rock, as well as singer-songwriter. My mom was really into sort of 50s and 60s, Buddy Holly and the Everly Brothers, and my father. We were in separate households. My parents got divorced when I was really young. But my father was Springsteen and Dylan and package delivery. So these are the ones that first come to mind. And when I really think of the first song, it's the song "Spirit in the Sky" by Norman Greenbaum. I it's not this record. This came out recently on Record Store Day, and I had to buy it. But I remember hearing this, my mom driving me around to probably baseball or basketball practice as a kid. She drove an old Buick. Oh, it was the worst car. I just remember like the plastic seats. It was huge. And this was like before people wore seatbelts. I remember I was always trying to tell my mom to put her seatbelt on. I don't know where I got like because she would have me wear one, but she wouldn't. And like a lot of people didn't wear seatbelts. I don't know why. But I remember hearing this on the radio and I couldn't stop talking about it. This song, Spirit in the Sky, which most of you probably know. It's a classic. And a couple days later, I came home from school. I've shared this on this channel, but it's just such a lovely story. And the 7-inch vinyl was on my bed. My mom had gone out and bought it for me. And that played a role in where I am right now, no doubt about it. So, Mom, maybe you'll be my 25th 100th subscriber, and thank you for that single, because that played a huge role in changing, I'm not going to say it changed the course of my life when I was 10, but certainly played a huge role in sort of getting me more deeply interested in music. This is probably going to surprise some people. I recently got this. It looks like this is a partial version of the Paul McCartney live album, Tripping the Live Fantastic. Looks like this came out in 1990, so I wasn't a kid. I was 16 or 17. But I remember I was getting into the Beatles at the time, I'd heard a lot of Beatles growing up, but I was sort of discovering them, and I was looking at albums that were coming out at that time. So this is high school, and I remember I heard Hey Jude off of this, and I just couldn't stop talking about it. I had it on double CD, which I think I still have, but I recently saw this on Discogs, and it was like $5 or something. I don't think this is considered like a great live album. I'm gonna put it on tonight. So yeah, it's the Trippin' the Live Fantastic highlights. But I remember having this on double CD, and it went everywhere with me. It would go in, when I was 1990, I was driving. Yeah, I think that's when I got my license, right? If I was in the car, I was going over, sleepovers. Did we have sleepovers at 17? That was like 12, right? Maybe it was just, I don't know, high school. I just remember it would go everywhere. It was, like I said, in my car, when I would go into Lane, hang out with Lane, I would play it. Trippin' the Live Fantastic. So this isn't the specific record, and it's coming out. The Everly Brothers, thanks again, Mom. This is you. I can remember being in our kitchen in suburban New Jersey. We had 2 speakers in the kitchen that were coming from one of those tall rack stereos that was in our living room, and it was Everly Brothers all the time. And I don't know if I liked that. I just remember they left a big impression on me. The harmonies, I was like, whoa, that's pretty cool. And this is like really young. One of the first records I remember discovering and liking on my own is Fleetwood Mac's Mirage. Now this came out in 82, so I was young, 9 or 10, or no, 8 or 9. And I've shared that I went to Fleetwood Mac on this tour with Men at Work at what was then called the Brendan Byrne Arena in East Rutherford, New Jersey. And the song Empire State, which I don't think I've listened to in 35 years. I played that song over and over and over and over, and I'm gonna play it tonight. I know this was reissued recently. I bought the reissue, but this is an original. Paid $3 at Amoeba. Fleetwood Mac's Mirage. I was 8 or 9 years old, and I just kept playing it. This one's obvious. Born to Run. Staying at my father's house. Well, that was a pun, right? My father's house, Song of Nebraska. Is that a pun? When I would stay at my father's house, those times were were, how do I say it? Interesting. If my memoir ever comes out, you can read that. But you can read some of those stories. But Born to Run was a record that was like I often think of it like it was a pet. Like it was something I turned to for comfort. I would hear it at all hours of the night, day, weekends, weeknights. A lot of parties going on in that house. And this record, I can remember listening to Jungle Land and latching onto that at like 5 a.m. Couldn't sleep. It was just rowdiness going on in the house. Thanks, Bruce. Same period, a lot of Bob Dylan. There was a lot of Bob Dylan, but also a lot of Bob Seger. And this was the record. I remember just seeing this on the turntable all the time. Against the Wind, Fire Lake, You'll Accompany Me. When did this come out? Don't know. And the print is way too small. 1980, I think. Bob Seger's Against the Wind, got this for $10. And then when I was coming into this is like in the mid 80s, Def Leppard. I saw them twice, 1987 and 1988. One show, Queensryche opened, and another show, Tesla. I don't know if people remember, there was a band called Tesla before Tesla became, yikes. Pyromania. There's a little party going on my patio. It was hair metal, and I got into it. Rock Till You Drop, Photograph, Foolin', Rock of Ages. I listened to this not long ago, digitally, and I was like, kind of holds up, surprisingly. So Def Leppard. Also at my father's house, this was being played all the time. Crosby, Stills, and Nash and Young. Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. Looks like Joni Mitchell did the cover. I forgot that. The album So Far. And I remember the song Our House and how confused it made me. Anybody? You probably know why. But Teach Your Children, Helplessly Hoping, Ohio, Sweet Judy Blue Eyes. This is just a classic. I bought it recently. Yeah. Sorry, that one really brings me back. I got two more. I remember this in grade school. I had the cassette, and it was controversial because it's a baby smoking a cigarette. Couldn't do that today, that's for sure. But did this come out in 84? 83, 84. This is the David Lee Roth era, yeah. Van Halen, 1984. So I was 10 or 11. I remember playing it on my cassette player. I just recently bought this reissue. I mean, this was a huge one for my generation. Never really stuck with Van Halen. All right, but I never really got into them. And then this one was really high school through and through, and into college. And I think right before I discovered all those bands in the 90s, I was still listening to this compilation, which is Neil Young's Decade. Still a huge Neil Young fan. I have like 7,000 of his records. And he's probably put out a few since I said that. It wasn't funny. Long May You Run. I remember my buddy Jay, when we had to send in our yearbook, our yearbook sort of quote. Maybe you'd put a quote in your yearbook, like from a song. And he asked me for one because he didn't know what to put. And I said, you should put From Long May You Run. Was it something Trunks of Memories? We've been through some things together with Trunks of Memories still to come. And this is his yearbook quote. I remember people would ask him like who it was. He'd be like, I don't know. Like, he called Chris and he gave it to me. But I had this on CD. I think I had it on vinyl. Probably had it on cassette. This is a reissue that came out not long ago, but yeah, this, I mean, it's everything, right? Burned, Broken Arrow, Sugar Mountain, Down by the River, I Am a Child, The Loner, Cowgirl in the Sun. I mean, it's all the hits. the hits and then some. Neil Young's Decade, huge. So as you can see, I didn't go with, I wanted to be brutally honest, which is what I try to do on this page, or this channel, and not go with the cool stuff, which I could have. I was even gonna grab like the White Album, that would be cooler, right? And I know I did listen to the White Album a bunch, but these were the 10 that stood out. I have to blow my nose again. I've gone through like 500 boxes. It's not true. 2 boxes of tissues. Good to see you all. I hope somebody gets me to 2,500. I usually lose subs. Because I think people who randomly subbed see it and they're like, oh, this guy. So hope you're all doing well. I know it's crazy, weird time, isn't it always now? And I will check in soon. Take care.